So everybody listening has probably shared their personal email address with countless products and services online. And unfortunately, this freely hands out both our unique digital identity and a direct path to our inbox, which ultimately invades our privacy, weakens our security, and kind of nags at our attention. So I'm Brian, and I'm building OwlMail to solve this problem. And to be more clear, OwlMail is the service layer that will power a generation of privacy-focused products that handle identity and communication online. So currently, companies that want the privacy and security benefit of a service like OwlMail end up building something in-house. For example, Craigslist runs an email relay to provide anonymous communication between buyers and sellers. The problem is that building and maintaining a service like this is expensive. The solution is to expose an API and a simple dashboard that makes it both cost-effective for companies of any size or any technical capability to add address issuing or an email relay into their product. So there's a really wide range of use cases for a service like OwlMail, and I just want to highlight two examples. Password managers like 1Password could issue email password credential pairs, and payment platforms like Fast could issue merchant-locked email addresses to improve the privacy and security of their users during the checkout process. So just a little bit about me. I previously worked as a software engineer at AWS, and after that, I went on to start two companies before OwlMail. At those companies, I wore a variety of hats, including sales, brand design, fundraising, product development, business strategy, and software engineering. So I started working on OwlMail about 6 months ago, and I've been focused on two things. First, I built the underlying service. And second, I built a minimal consumer-facing web app on top. And by doing this, I was able to become my own first customer. This helped me create a clear roadmap for the service going forward, and it generated enough traffic to help me harden the service's performance and reliability. It's now at a point where I feel confident exposing it as a public-facing API and onboarding early customers. And I've already had the chance to talk with a product owner who has an email relay on their roadmap and expressed interest in using OwlMail instead of building something in-house. So I'm currently raising $450,000 to expand the team, productize the API, get our first customers online, and operationalize sales. So if you're excited about this space, I'd love to connect.
Very cool. I love the analogy of privacy.com for email. One question I have is almost thinking through, if a company were to implement OWL, what does the experience in terms of their customers look like in terms of these almost like virtual email, potentially passcode pairs?
Yep. So if it's in kind of the password manager use case, in that case, the email would just be saved in your password manager, similar to how you save your personal email today. And in your inbox, as the user, you just receive a normal email that you can reply to and interact with like you normally would. So my goal with OwlMail is to have kind of this service layer be as invisible as possible to the end user.
Very cool. And then can you talk about some of the early prospective customers that you're talking to and what they're looking to implement in terms of the use case?
Yep. So the one customer that I talked to was a hiring marketplace similar to TripleByte, but they're a newer company. And so TripleByte actually operates an in-house email relay similar to what OwlMail will be exposing as a service. And so their use case is almost identical. They just want to make it easy for the candidates and the companies to be able to communicate with each other kind of on the early end of that process without having to exchange their personal email.
Very cool. And I guess what use case are you most excited about in terms of either the market potential or just customers?
Yep. So I'm kind of most excited that email, because the email address is a globally unique identity and the pathway to our inbox, email sits at the intersection of identity and communication. And so I think by having OwlMail as a service in that spot, there are a lot of really cool privacy and security products that OwlMail can kind of build on top. And so I think that's a really exciting big picture to me.
Very cool. And how do you think about kind of acquiring your first developers and really thinking about expanding mindshare with developers?
Yep. So at this point, I'll start with the company that I've talked with, And then going forward, I showed that slide that kind of had like, here are the different use cases. And so I'm just going to go through those use cases, find as many companies I can, start reaching out, and see if I can start onboarding other developers.
Yeah, it seems like an interesting time in the market, just with the shift of people want, especially for authentication, people want low friction, but they also want the security. And so I feel like the product that you're building could give them both in a way, in terms of that security around anonymous email, essentially, but still being able to rely on kind of a unique identifier.
Yep, I think that software as a whole, software eating the world is kind of like this big wave, and underneath it are sort of these smaller waves. And I certainly think that kind of a reversion back to privacy is the norm is sort of a wave that we're just starting to pick up on. And so I hope that OwlMail can be kind of critical infrastructure as part of that process.
And would you expand beyond email as a unique identifier and expand to any other channels?
Yep, I think there are a lot of interesting, like on the communication side, there's a lot of kind of end-to-end encrypted projects popping up. So potentially OwlMail could actually run on sort of like a matrix relay or something like that. And so I think right now, email is certainly the thing everybody uses in this case, but going forward, I don't think email is necessarily what OwlMail runs on.
Very cool. And then can you talk a little bit about just how you're thinking about building the team and the team today?
Yep. So right now the team is just myself. I'm a solo founder, and I have currently somebody I previously worked with at AWS who's a software engineer. He's been kind of low touch interacting with me on this project just because he thought it was really interesting. And as soon as I have the capital to hire him, I would hire him. He's basically ready to go.
Awesome.